Oh, good good evening, everyone. We are back from the holiday. And who's back? The Women's Leadership Forum. We're coming to you live at 6 o'clock. I know you missed us because last week, oh my gosh, if you did not see the last week of this Women's Forum platform, I would encourage you all to visit our website. And where can you find us? Let me see. You will find us on forwardwlf.org, or you can find us through our hashtag, which is forwardwlf. And my goodness, we had some discussions about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and women in the workplace, and minority women, women of color. It was an explosive conversation. And so I invite you to join us in our conversation, even today, because guess who is being interviewed? Oh my God. Shall I say that she's dynamic and she's exciting? It is not the person that is next to me on the screen. I'm actually being interviewed today. And we're going to have some fun and talking and telling about more things that are going on in the Women's Leadership Forum and why you should want to be a part of us, because we most certainly welcome you. Now, I could go on, but then that means I'm interviewing myself. Right?
And that will not happen today.
Right. And so my co-host here is not going to let that happen. So I'm going to relax. I should say I'm nervous because
don't relax too much. I've been waiting.
My co-host here, Erica Roberts of X is Possible, is a master interviewer, and I feel like I'm on. What is that? The show where the gentleman from the UK was kind of interviewing one artist at a time and delving deep. Well, I feel like that person. So I'm going to relinquish the floor to Miss Erica Roberts of X is Possible and let her do her thing. So welcome, Erica.
Thank you, and welcome, Colette. It is my pleasure to welcome you to Workforce Wednesdays, the Wednesday edition of Forward WLF, brought to you by Maryland Public Television and its founder, Colette Coakley. She is dynamic. She is amazing. And while you know her in her position and role as the founder, the creator, the visionary behind Forward Women's Leadership Forum, you might not know that she's also Vice President of Human Resources at Maryland Public Television, with an extensive background in human resources and a passion for ensuring that all people, but especially women, have their seat at the table. And so I'm so excited to be able to turn the tables today on Miss Colette Coakley.
You see that light back there? Ooh, which way do I go? That's the hot light.
Hot light. You're in the hot seat today. This is a hot seat for our viewers. And the idea behind this, we've been talking so long about career and about, specifically in the last year, the pandemic and how that's affected women and women in the workforce specifically. Mm-hmm. Through career change, through challenges with career advancement, through balance. And then we add on top of that all of the cultural things that have happened in the last year and how we have dealt with that in the workplace.
Yes.
And then even talking about the transition now as the world becomes, or at least the country becomes, more vaccinated and is returning to the workplace, and just the questions that come along with that. So we want to delve into some things related to career and put Colette in the hot seat where she loves to be.
Ooh, no.
And then also talk a little bit more specifically about the vision for the Forward Women's Leadership Forum and all of the other complementing components that will support women throughout the year. So are we ready, Colette?
No, but let's just go. Let's go. Ready, set, go.
We're ready. And of course, we invite you to, this is hosted by us, but we are inviting you to participate as co-hosts in the chat. So if you have any comments, feel free to drop them in the chat. either live or if you're watching the recording, to drop them there so that we can keep this dialogue going. So I have termed this first section, this first segment, Colette's Clues. And this is an opportunity for Colette to give us some insights. I was going to talk about pet peeves, but I want to keep it positive. So
okay, let's keep it positive.
Some clues related to some different aspects of career management. And I want to start off with job search. Mm-hmm. And specifically in the last day, I've talked to women that are looking to transition from nonprofit to state government, to move up in federal government, to move positions within industry, to move to full remote positions. When you're conducting that job search, just in general, or any of those specific areas, if you have them, Colette, what, from your professional lens, what strategy or strategies should women employ to ensure that they are finding opportunities that match their interests?
Well, first of all, should I thank you for that question? Thank you for that question. I think that one, we need to examine what our skill sets are and be truthful to ourselves. We need to be truthful. And a lot of times we can think we're one thing, but we actually are super, super skillful in other areas. And, some of the clues end up being your performance appraisals and what people are actually saying about you. So where your talents lie, you need to put those things in check before you job search. And then another thing is to know thyself. Know thyself, because there are certain cultures that you may want to be in, or you decide you don't want to be in. And so if you are more prone to being in a cafe rather than in a bar situation, and you're applying, you're not going to keep, unless it's absolutely necessary and you are desperate for those funds to get you started onto another path, you're not going to keep applying to somewhere where you're going to be miserable in that atmosphere. So you want to make sure, you want to do a culture check. You also want to, in order to look, I say you start with your friends. Where are they? Because and I'm putting the air quotes, they can be your advocates. Mm-hmm. Depending on the company that you're applying to, and give you clues for applying and making sure that you can see your way through a particular process. So, those would be at the top. And then you are doing the job search and narrowing your job search to fields of interest. Fields of interest, given the other factors. So if I'm skillful and I'm a rocket scientist, I'm just going to go look in areas where they might be building rockets or parts of rockets or having something to do with a rocket or rocket-like. Okay, so that I can feel comfortable. I can talk the language. I know what they're interviewing me on, and I'm able to fit in some way, shape, or form.
I love that you started with what in the E-Suite Academy, we call that self-awareness. And so you started off with know your strengths, know what you're actually good with, and be honest with yourself about that. Also know what it is you're looking for. So if large teams bring you joy, then you're looking for opportunities that allow you to interact with others. If people make you anxious, then you're looking at opportunities to work autonomously and potentially remotely. And it's okay to admit that to yourself. And what I'm hearing you say is not only is it okay to do that, but it's important to do that, because otherwise you might land in a position where you are miserable, potentially equally or more miserable than you might have been in the original position.
Yes.
Yep. And then I also heard you say, know your friends, know who you know.
Yeah, know who you know who you know, make that list. You know, some people just like they're strictly internet and they're going on the internet and they're job searching. But we've all been in spaces, or we should make our way to spaces where we are with people who could help elevate us. And sometimes we forget about that. Like we just go where we're comfortable.
I have a question on the HR side.
Mm-mm.
So, we have all of these, and I'm not going to call any out by name, but there are a ton of job search engines out there where you see a listing, it's been up for a week, you submit your resume to some blind hole in the sky. On the hiring end of that, the organization end of that, is it more effective to do this blind? You know what? This was something that popped up in my search keywords, or is it more effective to kind of navigate your circle and your network, or does it require a combination of both when you're looking for the perfect position?
I think it's a combination. You can't just rely on one thing for getting into a company. And I think you should do a combination, even if you, feel like the job search found, the job search engine found the company. I still say place a phone call. And maybe people find this old school, but I think that is very endearing and it leaves a lasting impression. There is nothing greater than having an informational interview. Just going in there and asking, and for those who don't know what that is, all it is you want more information on the company. Can somebody take the time and tell you more about the company? And then you can have a big ask at the end, which is, I'm looking to apply. Can you give me some clues? Is it something that they're looking for in particular about a particular job that I saw? But you at least, what you have over everyone is your foot in the door.
Mm-hmm. And so that informational interview, could that be with if the announcement had, or the posting had, an HR person's name? Can you reach out to them? Is that okay? Or can you?
Yes.
Okay.
But don't needle anyone, because that leaves an impression also. Don't needle anyone. So your question was about the search engine, because I want to come back to that.
Mm-hmm.
I would use a combination. So you HR person, if they are true to the work, is going to try to find the best candidate. And sometimes the best candidate does come through that search engine. But I will also tell you, it's more work for the HR person than it coming to the company directly. It ends up being, because that's another avenue. So I am not looking at my pool directly. I have to actually, it's like another click. I have to go to another click. I have to weed out whatever the search engine decided to give me. And that's more work. So, but there are certain jobs that you do want to do that with. And a lot of the ones that are technical in nature, you do end up using search engines for, because a lot of technical people apply how technically. And so we do utilize those search engines, but it's painstaking for us.
Mm-hmm. So that collect clue just told me you need to have a strategy. And the strategy may be that you start off using the search engine to find a position, maybe even apply for the position, but also based on the company listed in that position, do your research, see who you know in the network, and see who you can actually talk to get a foot in the door through another avenue. maybe also to slide your resume in through another avenue.
Even if you do a phone interview, you don't have to actually physically walk through the door. And now that we're virtual, do you have 5 minutes that I could ask you a couple questions about, say it's MPT, about MPT? I've been curious. It looks like a fun company to work for, or a good company to work for. And they are just the bomb, and the programming is great. So I'm interested. Can I talk to you a few minutes?
And shout out to the talented team at MPT. They actually are fun to work with, yeah. And for. So, segment 2 with Colette's Clues, and this is one that's near and dear to your heart. I know, Colette.
Mm-hmm.
What insights do you have about a woman's resume and how she can represent herself, prepare herself, and best position herself for that dream position?
Okay. Now, it's funny you should ask that, because today I watched the interview, and some may call it off-putting, but what I did was I cheered this person on, and that was Venus Williams. And she said no one could light a candle to her skills and abilities. And I was like, wow, she said that. She actually said that. And that's how I want that resume to come across my desk, is like, you are the bomb. Woman, you are the bomb. I want you. I need to check. Wait a minute. I'm not going any further. I'm not looking at any other resumes, because you are the GOAT. You are the GOAT, and I'll be fortunate enough to have you. So let me call you and pick your brain and find out if you're the fit. So I want the resume to shine. When you see that halo, when you see that halo, I want the resume to just shine skills and abilities, and I need you. I need what you have to offer. And so all your skills that are listed there, and we talked a little bit about this yesterday, they can't be plain.
What did you say? Don't be basic? Is that what you
Don't be basic.
Uh-huh.
We have a hard time. Even I have a hard time writing a bio, because you like telling about yourself. You're bragging on yourself. This is the time to do it. You are to brag on everything that your mama gave you. That's it. Brag and tell what you can do for that company. And do not be basic, and do not send the same resume to each and every company that you are applying to. You want to make sure that your resume is speaking, and your cover letter is speaking to that person who's going to be reading it.
And so I'm glad you mentioned cover letters. How important are cover letters in corporate America? We see them a lot. In federal government, not as much. In that middle ground with nonprofits and state government, how important is it? Do you all read those? Do you actually read cover letters?
Yes, I do. And I'm going to tell you why. Because just like for those of you who are in my age bracket, know the Beverly Hillbillies, where this is a story about a man named Jed. Okay, the Kinfolk said, move away from here. This is the point where you get to tell your story. You get to tell why you are the bomb. You get to tell what makes you better than any other candidate that's coming across the desk. The resume leaves it up to interpretation. What you write in your cover letter will actually tell me why you want that job, why you're the best fit for that job. It gives me a little bit of your history, that how you progressed and why you progressed, and what you are going to do for me lately. You're going to tell me all of that in your cover letter. And then I'm going to read it and want to read more, and want to call you and say, come work for me, because I am so intrigued and fascinated by what you believe that you can do for me that I need you here.
Okay, so it's specifically what I can do for you and addressing any gaps that might not be obvious from their resume as it relates to the posting. So there's skills alignment there too.
Yeah, and the resume is just the chronological order of your work history. I'm asking you in your cover letter to tell me about you. Tell me about you. You're going to have to dig deep because some of y'all, you don't want to release. I'm not asking you like how many children you have or when you got married. I'm not looking for that. I am looking for what is it that you loved about your jobs? What is it that propelled you to go to that next level? What is it that will propel you in this job? And most importantly, how are you going to move my company forward? How are you moving my company forward? Why would I add you on? Because what are you adding as is the name Lettucey? Lettucey said, what do you add to me? What do you add to me? So that's what I look for in a cover letter.
And one more clue for Colette and Colette's clues on both the cover letter and the resume. What makes you just throw it away, stop reading, put it down?
Poor grammar. Poor grammar and bad spelling. No. That's just a no. There's too many editors out here. Spell check is available. You got friends who could read it. Hopefully your friends can read it. Okay. So you have too many checks and balances that can be available to you for you to submit something to a company that you want to work for that is going to pay you, and they might judge you on your spelling. So you need to get that right. You need to get that right. That is like, no. That is a big no. Just don't do it. I will even give you a pass on some of the tenses. Last night I wasn't giving you a pass. I might give you a pass on some of the tenses because some folks don't line that up correctly, but won't give you a pass on the spelling.
All right. So you a couple minutes ago mentioned and cited Venus Williams.
Yes.
And I didn't hear that interview, but it sounded like she was pretty confident in expressing what she brings to the table. So the last area of Colette's clues for this day, in this particular session, is interviewing.
Mm-hmm.
I made it through I found the right opportunity. I apparently told a compelling story. My resume backed it up. I got called in for an interview. What gets me the position when I'm with an HR director?
Knowing what you know that you know it. And you got this far. You got this far based on hopefully your skills. You weren't a pass through. And so what you're promoting is your skills and what you can do. Know that you are in there to tell these people, I can do this. I can do this and some. Know that you are in there with all your might. You are telling them, I know what I know. And that's what Venus said in that video. She was really talking about the press, but it translated to many things. Was like, here's why I talk to you the way that I do. It's because I know none of y'all can do what I do. And I'm the GOAT. So since none of you all can do what I can do, I can talk to you the way that I want to talk to you.
And in case you missed it, the GOAT is the greatest of all time. So yeah. No, that's fine. But I'm glad you used that term because as a coach, I come across women all the time, and that humility factor. So actually coming in somewhere and saying, I can do this. I can do it better than it's being done right now. I can do it better than any of the other candidates. When do you want me to start? Seems a bit aggressive, seems maybe too assertive. What is your take on the other side of that table, that interview table, for somebody that comes out with the Venus confidence and terminology?
Know that timing is everything. You don't sit down at the table saying that. Okay? So timing is everything. You have to figure out your window in the conversation. You have to listen to what is being asked of you, and then you are going for it. You are actually swinging for the ball and making it go over the net and letting them know, I've done the job. I can propel you forward. I can create that W for you. You're trying to do X. Now that calls for you doing homework. Do you even know what they need and want? It's not always written in the job description, but if you know that company, again, I'm building rockets, is building the next rocket, and you like have the formula, I've got the formula. I know how to put fuel in the tank or whatever it is that you let them know what you know. You don't have to give away all your secrets, but you let them know that you have knowledge. We are not to dummy down. I'm saying this into the game. We are not to dummy down. That's where we get beat out. And so you let them know what you can do for them, how you can do it for them. And the other thing is, if there's money involved, you mentioned the dollars and cents. And I'm not talking about asking for it, because there's a time and place to do that. But I'm saying, if you can contribute to a bottom line, you let them know that I'm going to bring you $1 million next year. And here's how I would do it. You don't have to give them everything, but here's how I would do it. Because just as you're giving it to them, they're taking note, trying to figure out how they can do it themselves. So be careful of everything you get.
So what I just heard you say is, if you don't lead with, I'm the greatest of all time, at some point you express that and make them know that you're great, and have to worry about how they're going to be great without you if they don't pick you up.
Yes, I'm not, and please, ladies, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying be, Serena and Venus and slam that ball across the net. I am saying it's a balancing act. Even for a man, it's still a balancing act in your conversation. Again, timing is everything. To say, here's what I know. I know this about your company. I know that you're trying to get here, and here's how I can contribute to that. I'm an expert at X, Y, and Z, because that calls for knowing your skill set. I'm an expert at X, Y, and Z. And then sometimes, even in that, when they ask you that same question, which is, what are your weaknesses? The fact that you are able to contribute to their bottom line and contribute this skill set that they needed, your weaknesses, they might not even matter by the time that they get to that question. They might not even matter, because you've taken the company to a place where they haven't been before. So they're going to want to know more about what you can do for them than what you are, you may be deficient in.
And I'm glad that with that last response, because you actually just brought it full circle. We started with self-awareness, know thyself, know thy strengths, and we ended with it, articulate thy needs and thy strengths. And it's really a full circle. Have strategy along the way, ladies, and rewind if you need to collect any more of these Colette clues, because she dropped some gems today. So I can't believe it's already been 30 minutes, Colette, but we have a half an hour. Right. See, it's different on that side of the table. But before we let go for the day, I want to share with anyone listening that this is just an example of the types of content that you get throughout the year from Forward Women's Leadership Forum. Of course, there is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday joining us at 6 p.m. Eastern on Facebook or YouTube, hashtag Forward WLF. But we also have programming throughout the year that's both live and virtual. And so I want to ask Colette, as the founder of Forward Women's Leadership Forum, your vision to share this type of information to empower women is clearly expanding. And can you share with us a little bit more about what that vision looks like in 2021, 2022, and how women can benefit?
So I'm going to approach it this way by saying a vision is, for me, is vast. It means down the road. It means dream big. And I think, and you can laugh at me if you want, but I think I dream big and I dream often. And even I give my husband credit because he sometimes says I don't dream big enough. And I'm like, wow, okay, how big can I go? So given that I have big dreams for the women that are affected by the Women's Leadership Forum. We are a collective. And when I say collective, not just WLF Live, but the whole, anybody who subscribes to the, on the website, subscribes to the Women's Leadership Forum is a part of the collective because we are to be resourceful to one another. It doesn't cost. It doesn't cost to be a part of us. We just ask that you share your knowledge, skills, and abilities with us so that we can advance the ball forward. We can advance our games forward. We can advance our knowledge forward, and we can make sound decisions. So what you see here on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is a collective of women. And we are a collective who are sharing our knowledge, skills, and abilities with you so that you are able to advance your game forward. We operate like a team. We are sharing of one another's resources so that we can be a resource for you. If there's that's why we ask you to chat with us. What is it that you need? What is it that you see? What is it that you can contribute to the conversation so that we become more knowledgeable and we're able to go into the boss and say, listen, I've been doing X, Y, and Z for a number of times. You've not acknowledged that. I would like to be acknowledged for that. And acknowledgement can come in many forms. We know the kind that we want. But, you're able to have, what's the right way to say that? What's the right approach? What's the things that we need to consider? Those are the things that we discuss here. And it's open. So that's why we think that it's important for you to tune in so that you can understand from the experts what it is that we have encountered and what it is that we share so that you are able to make some great decisions for yourself.
Excellent. And can you give us an example? You mentioned WLF Live. So that's this Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. What other types of programs might we might be able to benefit from throughout the year?
So the big one coming up is July 10th. It's Founders Day, and I'm the founder. So I declared July the 10th Founders Day, and we're going to have a business mastermind class. We're catering towards businesses because there's a lot of entrepreneurs, and you know that, the female category is the one that is rising the fastest in the entrepreneur category. And so we want to be of assistance to that. We want to make sure that women understand what it takes to run a business and understand, do you actually have a business? And then what can I do to expand? How do I get more customers? How do I actually register my business if I'm declaring it a business? How do I actually register to make it a valid business? And what do I do down the road for sustainability? And so we want to give you this mastermind class that occurs a half a day. It's a $99 investment. And both Erica Roberts and Jamise Pigney are conducting these classes. You're not going to get the information anywhere else, up close and personal. It will be a closed class, but it's virtual. And so I'm encouraging you all, particularly if you haven't subscribed, you need to subscribe because it was in the newsletter today. It's on the Instagram and Facebook pages on how to register.
And seats are limited because there is that special pledge. So seats are limited for this one.
And because it's Founders Day, I'm taking an hour to share with you all something special, but you gotta play and pay to win. So, we're inviting you to be a part of this. This is one of the many classes that we're going to give that lead up to the big event that's happening in next March during Women's International Month. And we're holding other courses like legacy courses. We're also holding other business courses. And we want to make sure that we're giving things that you could use to make sure that you are making great decisions.
And so you just kind of threw that in there, but one more time, what was that last event? What's the name of it that you just mentioned?
So it's the Forward Women's Leadership Forum event, and it's going to be 3 days, and we're still plotting and planning based on the surveys that were returned to us. We are taking into account what the things that you liked. What you got going on with 5 more minutes? Okay.
No, 5 years. This is our 5th year.
Yeah. I'm coming to we're trying to plot that gala because we want to celebrate that we have been in our 5th year. 5th year. Can you believe that? It started out as this 130 women event, and now we are in 14 countries. Can you believe that? I mean, and it took you actually pointing that out for me to realize how far we've come. And it's a testament to you women who want to connect and us finding a way to get you connected for you all to excel and run and do what you, like they say, do what you do. We want you to be able to do what you do. And let me just remind you, this is not a CEO thing. This is a you thing. This is for whatever it is that you want to do. We ask that you come and tell us so that we can connect you with people who want to see you do it faster and better than just you doing it by yourself. So we encourage all you women out there, be a part of us. There's 2,100 women that are now in the tribe, if you will. And not just from the United States, they're around the world. And so you want to get connected. This virtual platform that we've been using allows for that. We want to get you connected. And so you want to be able to ask your question and ask it anonymously. You want to ask something maybe about your boss. Okay. Do it.
Just come out and release. We had tears. We had testimonies, all of it. So thank you, Colette. I want to wrap up. I want to be respectful of the time, but the takeaways from this last segment were: 1, make certain that if you are not yet a member of the collective that you join today, www.forwardwlf.org. Subscribe to the newsletter, get involved with the collective. Also, July 10th is the Founders Day and Business Mastermind for all of those that were there on that last day of the forum in this last March that just didn't want to go home and couldn't get enough. This is for you. This is why this was created. And we want to make certain, if you're interested, seats are limited. Go ahead and get yours. Plus, there's a special surprise from the founder herself. And it's not too early, I don't think. Can we go ahead and register for next March?
You can register for next March. No, the ticket is not quite available, but we're
So
gonna.
it's not too late to plan for it.
It's not too late to plan for it, and watch out because there are going to be some early bird specials.
Watch out and be ready to pounce on the early bird specials so that you can be in the place and you can inform. Let us know what you need as far as topics are concerned for next March's amazing 5-year
celebration. 5.
Yeah. So with that, also take the Colette clues. Make certain that if you heard something, if you picked up something that you did not know or that applies to your situation. We had some questions that we did not get to that we will inform and use to inform future segments. But make certain that you take the information that you received, you take the insights you got from Colette Coakley, and that you apply them so that in furtherance of your career and your goals. With that, I am Erica Roberts. I'm proud to be a part of this collective, and I thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.